The challenge of sustainability for those of us operating in the built environment is really not to be underestimated. Some fairly substantial change is going to have to happen to the business models that currently exist, or a number of us are going to be falling by the wayside.
There are many examples from other sectors in which large incumbent businesses don't adapt to change, and they really suffer as a result.
And I think businesses that don't adapt, they won't be around in 10, 15 years' time, or certainly they won't be doing particularly well.
For every risk, I suppose, that's in place, of course, there's massive business opportunities as well. So doing things in a different way, doing things in an innovative way is going to bring great opportunities for any business.
The way we've approached this project is to introduce a metaphor, and we've said if UK Built Environment plc was this mega conglomerate that was operating in the construction, property and infrastructure sector, and it had just acquired all of these companies in the UK Built Environment industry, what would its plan look like for the next 10, 20 years and beyond? What might some of the new and innovative commercial ideas be that will revolutionise the way that we, or UK Built Environment plc, does business? We're looking for the commercial opportunities that could represent a plan for growth.
What's Great Britain in 2050 look like? Well, the slightly disarming thing is that it may look remarkably familiar, because actually we know that over 80% of the buildings in Britain in 2050 are going to be ones that we're living and working in today. But my hunch is that it could be underpinned by a completely different looking industry. So what we've been doing is bringing together some of our leaders, some of our other UK-GBC members, to form what we call the innovation and integration team for this company, to think, okay, let's develop the strategic plan that looks out into the future then.
UK-GBC and over 50 representatives from member organisations have been on a journey over the last few months through that lens of UK Built Environment plc. We've scanned the future operating environment and we've taken a look at the political, economic, social and technological trends and drivers, really challenging assumptions about the way we currently do business and working with innovation experts to gain insight into potential areas for growth.
It's relatively easy to come up with evolutionary, small-scale stuff. It's actually quite hard to come up with big, new ideas. And I'll tell you why it's hard. Because to come up with the big ideas, we have to question the assumptions that govern our operating mindset. And those assumptions are usually things that have allowed businesses that exist now to be extremely successful. We're going to take you on a process which is designed to help you think the unthinkable.
Certainly, from my perspective, the process that we ran through was extremely helpful because everyone's got a day job, they've got their immediate priorities preying on their minds. What the workshops did was take you out of that environment.
And actually to just sit down and to brainstorm with a whole group of colleagues from across the industry, having discussions with clients and developers in a context that I wouldn't normally have without the usual constraints of a particular site or particular funding arrangements, and just say, what is the potential, what could we be doing and how could we be doing it?
And what was interesting is that it allowed us to see that the assumptions that we were using were outdated and that things have moved on. Social networking is here and people communicate in a different way, they expect answers on a different time frame. So it was really useful to do that because it enabled us to generate new ideas once we put our old ideas, our old assumptions behind us.
The result is that you do draw on other people's experiences and build on them and end up in thinking things that you wouldn't have thought normally.
And I think it's that heterogeneous feel that process had that really got us to a point where we had some ideas that could be taken forward.
And 5 projects have come forward to be the key ones which are going to have the most credibility and have got the best chance of success, but at the same time being a radical step forward over what is currently available. Community Collaborators project is really going to fulfil a niche which is very important, and that brings together the need to generate new methods of creating energy for communities. It brings together the idea of filling an infrastructure gap that currently exists, and of course it leverages from localism. The current government ambition is to devolve a great deal of decision making to the local level, and by bringing this Collaborators project together really fills that niche.
So I think one of the big game-changing ideas is just the potential to unlock opportunities that exist at a local level to harness those resources and make a contribution to the energy and climate challenges that we face as a nation.
I think it's a brilliant opportunity if we can be part of that and to be collaborating with the supply chain, the manufacturers, the contractors, to produce something that people are really going to cherish and love. You know, ideally, it's going to be a situation where people can buy a home as soon as they can afford it and then live there, you know, live their days out there because it's adaptable, it suits their needs, then that's perfect. And if that means that we're not producing endless houses that nobody wants or aren't suited to people's needs, then that can be a good thing as well.
Some very early research that we've done, there are some companies who are already looking at when they're selling property or renting property, you can search by is it green, or you can search by location. What we want to do is go further than that. And so we think that it's pulling together things that are already out there but adding to it, and it should be of great value to lots of other businesses that are already operating in this space.
We need to get traction, we need to get buy-in from local authorities, from community groups and existing businesses out there to really make it fly, and I think that's possible.
First of all, there's a lot of detail to be worked through, and the devil is always in the detail. And so, great idea, interesting and tested in principle. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty, how would it really work? So that's an important step. And clearly, the hope here is to be disruptive, be a game changer by thinking about this differently. Looking at the existing very polarised model, either rented or ownership, and actually finding a way of getting the best out of both.
Decades down the road, this space will be unlike anything we can probably even imagine right now. We already have wireless electricity, unbelievably. We have Wi-Fi internet. So the next sort of jumps aren't that crazy to really think about, where you could just walk into a building, not have to plug your phone in or your iPad in. It charges automatically. The building recognizes that it's your computer, and yeah, you can do whatever you want, never have to pay any rent. You get charged on literally what you're using.
I think anything that challenges the industry to work better, more intelligently, gets us all talking to each other and can come out with a tangible product that then rolls out across the industry for everybody, I think can only be a good thing.
At this moment in time, it's very easy to keep your head down, work harder, but actually there's also a case for standing up, looking up and saying what could be done differently, and that's what this project does.
I really hope that businesses can see that there is business in operating in a different way, and we can take this forward.
And hopefully, if it works out, we'll be bearing the fruits of it in the next 5, 10, 15 years as the economy strengthens and improves.